Hello and welcome back. This is day 2 of 100. I am on a mission to review 100 South African movies in 100 days. Today we are reviewing a movie called Happiness is a Four-Letter Word. And it's directed by Thabang Moleya. It was released in 2016. As for the producer, I don't know. I'm actually finding it very challenging to find who the producers of the movie is, or the producers of the movie are. He's who the producers of the movies are. Ne? Correct me if I'm wrong. So I think I'm going to leave that out going forward. We're reviewing Happiness is a Four-Letter Word. It was released in 2016. 2016 is 9 years ago. Just let that sink in, okay? So I'm on IMDb, and this is the quick synopsis of the movie. It says, perfectionist Nandi seems to have the new South African dream life within her grasp. Black female partner in a major firm, marriage, the perfect house, but it all goes up in flames a few months before the wedding. With her friends Zaza and Princess, Nandi must discover what truly makes her happy, then fight to get it. Yeah, I think it sort of wraps up what the movie is about. If I had to explain it to somebody, I would say that the movie follows 3 ladies, Nandi, Zaza, and Princess, and basically like their love lives, so to speak. Yeah, it's following their love lives. And we're basically taken through this journey of, them getting to... This one is a tough one. It is a tough one. How do I explain what is the movie about? What is this movie about, really? What is this movie about? And what's and then now all of a sudden I can't speak. So the movie follows 3 ladies who are friends, and it basically follows their love lives. What's happening in their love lives, the choices that they make, the consequences they have to face. It's basically like a young rom-com / chick flick. It's not even a comedy, but there is comedic elements to it. But it's a proper chick flick. This movie is a proper chick flick because it's besties getting together, and then we get to see their exploits with the guys that they're dealing with, and then we also get to see elements of like their friendship and how they're there for each other. And yeah, that's basically what we're going through in the movie, So we have Nandi, number 1. Nandi is this big shot lawyer who literally just got made partner at her firm, and she's about to get married to this guy. His name is Thomas, I think, in the movie. She's about to get married to Thomas, but then an ex comes back into her life, and we basically follow all the drama that happens as a result of that. And then secondly, we have Zaza, who's played by Kanyibao. Zaza is, what you would call today like the ultimate fabulous housewife who's got her boutique store. She sells shoes on the side. She's married to this very rich man. Seems like he's into like tenders and construction and things like that. They live in a beautiful house, big mansion looking, big space, double story house. So I would say that she's pretty rich, and Zaza always looks fabulous. She always looks so good. But the thing with Zaza is that her husband, because he's so busy all the time, she feels a bit neglected and then starts dipping out in the marriage. And then lastly, we have Princess, the last of the 3 ladies. And Princess is like a gallery owner / art director or something like that, or curator is what I want to say, actually an art curator. And she's also doing very well for herself. And she's like a commitment phobe. She does not want to get committed. She just believes men are there to just enjoy and dispose. And we also then just follow what goes on with her love life as well. So, yeah, I think the movie just centers around these three ladies and their journey or their experiences in love, in trying to find success career-wise, and just life in general. You know, all these ladies are doing well at the top of their game. They're financially, sharp. They're not poor or anything. And that's basically it. Let me just get the actresses' names. Nandi is played by Mabatu Montu. Zaza is played by Kanyimbao, and then Princess is played by Renata Stearman. Just on a side note, I haven't seen Mabatu acting in a minute. Yeah, I always remember her from like Generations, and then a few other things that she's done. I'm not sure what else, but I haven't seen her acting in quite a bit. There's also this movie is actually showing me like how old it is based on the people that are in it. There's also this guy Steve Mark, who plays one of Princess's love interests, and he was like a big deal, big shot model around the time. So I saw him in the movie and I was like, oh wow, I remember this guy. He used to be like this proper model. In terms of where the film takes place, I think it takes place in Joburg. I think I've heard Joburg being mentioned quite a bit. And I think the film doesn't do much of a great job like displaying the location in terms of like the city Johannesburg, but I think they do a very good job of showcasing the lifestyle that the ladies live. Like you can see in the clothes that they wear, you can see it in like their shoes. Zaza owns a shoe store, and so you can see like the type of shoes that she sells and the type of shoes that the ladies wear are very like, posh and high stilettos, look expensive for the time also, because the movie was made in 2016. The fashion is very much different in that time. So I think for that time, that is what, affluence looked like. Zaza's home is like a mansion. It's spacious, it's big, there's, huge glass windows all over the house. And Princess also lives in a very beautiful house, looks very big. Also, Nandi. So I think they do a good job in terms of like the set design to communicate the ladies' lifestyle, and they class, so to speak. They're not middle class. They're probably like upper middle class slash high class, I think. Low class, middle class, high class, yeah. So I think the movie does do a great job communicating that. You can also see in terms of how Zaza dresses, I think she's one character that I think they did a very good job sort of pushing that stereotype of a stay-at-home wife slash stay-at-home wife, stay-at-home mom, like a wife to a rich businessman, wife who doesn't need to work but only works because she wants to, or owns her little business boutique, probably running at a loss and being funded entirely by her husband. Because you can see like the way she dresses, she's like this fabulous lady, takes very good care of herself, always has makeup on, her hair. I did not realize that that's how like weaves looked back in the day. Like she had these other, I don't know what to call those things. It's like they stick pieces of hair onto your hair. What is that thing called? Micro link. Micro link hair extension. I think that's what it's Yebo. So yes, so I think they did a good job with Zaza showcasing basically like this character of a wife to a rich businessman. You know, those stay-at-home wives who are married to wealthy men, they own a little boutique on the side. These are just stereotypes, and I think they played heavily into it, because you can just see also like in the way she presents herself, she's always pretty well dressed. Her clothing looks like very expensive. It's always like rhinestones or what do you call these, sequins, like expensive looking clothing. She's always wearing heels. She's always got makeup on, and she's got these hair extension, which I was so shocked and pleasantly surprised. Or just I guess it was like a moment of nostalgia or going back in time, that this is how hair extensions used to look before weaves and lace fronts became a big thing. She had these micro link hair extensions, you know, where they just attach piece by piece. If I can find a picture of it, I'll definitely include it in the video. But that's not cheap. That's not cheap. Like, to look the way Zaza looked in the movie, that is not cheap. So I think they did a very good job playing into the stereotypes of what a typical housewife to a rich businessman looks like. Yeah. And then in terms of the other ladies as well, with Nandi, she works in a very male-dominated industry, and you know, she's not trying to be too feminine. I think, am I lying? Am I making stuff up? Maybe I'm making things up here just to say something, you know. Let me just say what I see. Nandi is, you know, the type of lady that keeps her hair in a afro, so she's very natural. She barely wears any makeup. The most would be like a lipstick and some eyeliner. I didn't really see her with nails and things like that, but I wasn't paying attention. But she dresses very well. All three of these ladies dress very well, and they reflect their financial status, if that makes sense. And then we also have then Princess. Princess is always like Afrocentric in the way that she dresses. She's got her beautiful red, orange, auburn looking afro, and she also is not very much into makeup and things like that, but the way that she dresses reflects the career that she's in as well as an art director. Generally, people in the art space, in the art industry, are more sort of expressive and I want to say expressive, and I guess like you could sometimes find a lot of like Afrocentric influences in the way that they dress and the way that they present themselves, and I think that Princess embodies that quite a bit in this movie. So hair, makeup, costuming, I think did a very good job with sort of communicating the ladies' characters, or sort of building the characters for us. And then in terms of the location, yeah, I think the location was pretty standard. I mean, they got houses that reflect as well the lifestyles that these ladies live. So I think that's, in terms of like the set, the location, the art department, they did a great job in terms of costuming and hair and makeup. And then in terms of set, I think they also did a decent job with that. Okay, then the writing and structure. Okay, I think here for me the writing flopped a little. Okay, not flopped. To me, flopped is like an exaggeration. But I think that on the writing side, there was just too much reliance on believe what I tell you. Do you get what I'm saying? Instead of supporting the story or the plot with actual scenes that we can see and relate with. So what I mean by that is, I'll give an example. So Princess, for instance, is somebody that is very averse to commitment, right? Why? We don't know. it's like, I guess that's just how she is. That's what they say. You know what I'm saying? That's just how she is according to the movie. And it would have been nice if they could sort of explain why it is that, or give an indication at least of why it is that Princess struggles to commit. Because in the movie then she goes on to fall for this guy Leo, who's an artist. I think he's a photographer, and a painter as well. He's just an artist all around, and she falls for this guy. Why is she falling for him? We don't know. Like, I thought she was a commitment phobe. So what is it about this guy that all of a sudden makes her fall? And she falls so hard that this guy comes and lives with her within like weeks of getting to know each other. It just didn't make sense to me. We don't get to see how deep it is, how hectic it is, why it is that she doesn't want to commit. And then she turns around and falls for a guy. Within a matter of weeks, this guy is already living with her. She's cooking for the man, staying up late, wondering where the heck he is when he doesn't show up for the dinner, being all romantic and stuff. And it's like, why? What's so special about this guy? Why is it him that you're willing to commit to? You know? So I really felt that a lot of the things were not supported in the writing. Like, a lot of the decision making of the characters was not supported in the movie. And also another example is Nandi. Nandi is working on this case only to find out that it's her ex that hired the firm that she works for to work on this case, and he specifically asked for her. So we're told that this guy basically broke her heart. What happened, we don't know. But for some reason, she still wants the guy. Why does she still want the guy? We don't know. Like, we don't have any context as to what happened in the relationship, as to how deep the love was. And now the guy is back in her life, and all of a sudden she wants to dabble with the guy again. But why do you want to dabble with the guy? It was just so confusing. Same thing with Zaza, you know. I feel that Zaza was basically just dipping out on her marriage. There's a lot of spoilers, so if you haven't watched the movie, please watch it first before you watch this review, because we need to get into the nitty-gritty of this movie, right? Zaza is basically dipping out on her marriage because because we see that whenever she wants to spend time with her husband, the husband is busy, he's always on the road. She says, in her words, he's not home 90% of the time. So she dips out on the marriage and finds herself somebody to distract her or to keep her company while her man is gone, right? And it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get that you want to dip out and stuff. So she dips out, and then the relationship with her side piece evolves so much that the guy wants to marry Zaza. But Zaza is too afraid to end her marriage on the other side. But she's heartbroken that she can't be with the guy. And it's like, I didn't see you really exchanging like love with this person. You know, some of the things that were happening in the film were just, I struggle to believe. And I feel that the writing is what let it down in that regard. But on the other side of it, I did like to see the sisterhood. I think the writing did a very nice job with the sisterhood. Like, when the girls got together, when the three ladies got together, and they were basically finding their way through this life thing and advising each other and, you know, chatting, like, you could see the elements and the quirks of their relationship, the dynamics of their relationships, and you could see how they're there for each other, how they're backing each other up, how they're advising each other. And I think writing did a good job to communicate the sisterhood and the friendship very well in this film. it was just lacking on the other side, as I explained, which sort of was just like, I'm not really convinced as to why you would go and cheat, or I'm not really convinced as to why all of a sudden you like this guy, because I don't really see anything special about him. So the writing for me was 50-50. Like, there were good parts about it and there were bad parts about it. Then in terms of the acting and performance, I don't know if I'm going to be like too critical here, because I don't know if it's a thing about the time, like it was 2016. Like, I wonder if I had to go back to 2016 and I watched this film. And I'm pretty sure I did. I think I have watched this film before, but I can't remember like my emotions towards the film at that time. But I wonder if I went back and I watched this film, how I would feel about the acting. Like, is it gonna be like, oh wow, stellar performance? Because the ladies did, the acting in there was pretty good. I think they did a great job. I think the standout performances for me were from Renata, who plays Princess, or from Mabatu, who plays Nandi. Khanyi Mbau, I think at that time, was still, for me, is my opinion. Okay? I am not the law. I'm not representing actors, and I'm not the person out here who says what's good and what's bad. Is my opinion. Okay? If you disagree with me, that's okay. That's your opinion. I don't even know why I feel I need to make that disclaimer, because anyway, for me, Khanyi Mbau, in this film, I think she still had ways to go in terms of her acting. It still felt very performative for me. Same with who's this guy? Let me find this guy's name. Hair extensions, guys. It took me a while to find these extensions. The microlink, Khanyi Mbau. Can't believe that was like, hair back in the day. Because I look at that thing now and I'm like, Chris, his name is Chris Atto, and he plays Chris in the movie. This is Nandi's ex that comes back into her life. So even him, I felt like it was like overly performative, it just didn't feel natural and believable, the acting. But it wasn't terrible. So for me, the standout performances were definitely Mabatu plays Nandi, Renata, who plays Princess, and then the other guys were not stand out, but the acting was good. I think the acting was standard. I can give it to them. And I think the ladies did well. One thing I will say about Khanyi Mbau is that she did do very well with feeding into the stereotype as well of the whole housewife and slay queen and all that stuff. So I don't know if in that time, I know back then she was very popular for like dating very, very wealthy men. So I don't know if she was just being typecast based on her life, because she was that lady who always looked beautiful, always looked stunning, and was also associated with very wealthy men in terms of who she dated. So yeah, the acting was decent. Then we're gonna move on to cinematography. I don't think there was anything special. There's nothing worth for me saying about the cinematography here. I think that the way the movie was shot was pretty... I don't think like cinematography was at the forefront of this film to sort of have it be appreciated as a standalone. I think the cinematography on this film was just serving the purpose of capturing the film and just making things make sense, jumping from one person to the next, framing everybody in a scene, you know. Yeah, I think it was just a logical way of shooting it. If somebody's looking up at something, then from that viewpoint, then we can see the person downwards. That makes sense, you know. If I'm sitting with somebody and I'm having a conversation, the way that it's shot must show that I'm looking at them and they're looking at me, type of thing. So I think it was just the way the movie was shot was just functioning to capture what's going on and have it make sense. I don't think it was doing anything to actually support the themes of the film, or I don't think it was doing anything to support sort of like the emotions and the mood of the film. So cinematography for me, I don't even know if there was a cinematographer on this let me see, on this film. Is there? There is. Apparently the guy's name is Lance Giwer. Lance Giwer was the director of photography. So yeah, maybe there's something that I'm missing. I don't know. But from my viewpoint, that is basically what it was. It was just serving a function to capture the film and just have it make sense. I don't think it was a tool to communicate the themes and the message of the film itself, or the ideas of the message of the film itself. So yeah. Then editing, for me, same story as with the cinematography. It was just serving a function to stitch together all the scenes and have a storyline that makes sense leading up to the end of the story. I did not note anything very special about the editing as well. I mean, if somebody's looking at something, then there's gonna be a shot that cuts to that, you know. It makes sense. I wouldn't say it's something that is like now a standalone piece to be analyzed and appreciated. Yeah. So cinematography and editing for me, just serving the function of capturing and organizing the film. That's it. That's my takeaway from it. Then sound and music. Lira had a tender. She had a tender in this movie because I think they played like 2-3 of her songs, and man, like watching this movie actually took me back so much, because it took me back to like the time of 2016. Just seeing the movie really took me back to 2016, like seeing the fashion, seeing the hair, the makeup, the clothing, the music as well. It just transported me back in time, which was like nice, which was very nice, because this was also a time when Lira was popping, you know. I just wanna feel good every day. Like, it took me back. It was so nice to just get that element of nostalgia, I guess, from the film. So yeah, but in terms of the music and the sound design in this film, I think they did a good job in terms of like capturing the mood or communicating the mood and the themes. There was this one moment that tripped me up. There is this scene where we start to see like this relationship between Thomas and Nandi. Thomas is Nandi's fiance. And we see like their relationship, they play for, you know, they're enjoying each other's, they goofy around each other and all that stuff. And like I expected to hear like very joyful, lovey, romantic, upbeat music, but it sounded very somber. It sounded very like mourning, lament type music, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense, right? Am I supposed to be feeling sad right now watching this beautiful scene of this couple interacting and being themselves and showing their goofy side, playful nature of their relationship? Like, am I supposed to be feeling this way? But then, like, the scene that follows after that is then when Nandi goes on to basically cheat with her ex. And I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if that was intentional to sort of like make you mourn this beautiful moment, to say like, oh, look at these two, but Hashem, because Aus is gonna go and ruin it in the upcoming scene. So that is something that I noted about the music, which Shem, I'll give them props. Not Shem. I will definitely give the sound design and the music people here some props, because I think they made me actually start feeling like mournful watching that scene. And it just made me also feel that the sound and music design was also very intentional. It wasn't just there to just say, oh, look, a happy moment, let's put happy music. Oh, a sad moment, let's put sad music. It's like, no, what journey are we taking you on as the viewer? Where we want you to go. And that's then how we ended up. Well, yeah, and then that's then how the music then ties into basically putting you into this mournful, or like putting you into this mood that's going to support the events that are coming up. Yes, that's what I want to say. So sound and music I think it was really good. And as I said, Lira had a tender for this movie. They used a couple of her songs, and she even featured in the movie as well at the end where there's the wedding. She was one of the singers at the wedding. So that was nice. That was really nice. So I think, yeah, we've gone through pretty much the worksheet of this movie. And then I think the last thing is like, what messages or ideas is the film exploring? So for me, like, the biggest thing was the theme of friendship and sisterhood. These ladies have each other's backs, and it's really like a family level, family depth relationship, because when you get to that level, it's sort of like an unconditional love type of level, or it's starting to get towards unconditional love levels where you just love a person, you take them in as they are, and it's not about judgment, and it's not about shunning any bad behavior, but just really about walking life with this person, advising them where you can, helping them out where you can, and also celebrating wins, celebrating each other, being there for each other in the bad times. And yeah, I think that's one of the major themes. The other theme for me was like how do I put this? Because in all of the cases of the ladies, they basically were chasing something that they could not attain, if that makes sense. So like in Zaza's case, right, let me think about it. In Zaza's case, she dipped out of her marriage because her husband was not really around, only to find out in the end that her husband actually loves her, and he cares about her, and she starts to feel regret for what she's done, right? Weird, because she was supposedly in love with her toy boy. So, but anyway, we've already gone through this. And then Nandi as well chases this, I don't even know what she was doing with her ex. You see what I mean? I don't even know what she was doing with her ex. And basically like jeopardizes a very well-functioning relationship with a man that cares about her. And that is actually like the opposite of her ex, who betrayed her somehow. We still don't know. excuse me, who betrayed her somehow. So we don't know what happened between her and her ex, but apparently it was bad. But she was still willing to jeopardize her relationship with her fiance for this guy that was bad to her. Anyway, so she also, in a sense, was chasing something when she had something good at home. Then now the opposite happens with Princess. Princess was running away from something, and then while running she found love, you know. She found love, but then this love disappointed her, you know. So maybe this film was about disappointment in love and the choices and our parts to play in love disappointing us, if that makes sense. Yeah. And oh yeah, to get back to the title of the movie, Happiness is a 4-letter word. They had this thing throughout the film where they were basically separating the film into like chapters, and all of these chapters were like 4-letter words, like lies, love. I can't remember the other ones, but for me it was just so weird. I couldn't really put together how it ties in completely to the film. Like I missed that, and I almost felt to an extent that it was unnecessary because there wasn't a strong link to the chapters that they were presenting, and also like the storyline and how it all ties in. Maybe I was just not paying attention, but yeah, that was just a weird one, I think, in terms of like the editing, or maybe it's the editing. So yeah, I think those are the central themes for me. Like that the major one was sisterhood, the second one was disappointment in love, and I think that's all. So my final thoughts. What did the film leave me thinking about? I think this film left me thinking that, you know, sometimes we're our own enemies. Honestly, like you've got a life that's going good for you and then you just go and ruin it, and it's for no apparent reason. Like, especially on Nandi and Zaza's side. It's like, you guys have seemingly good lives and you go and destroy it, and for what? You know what I'm saying? And then on the other side, Princess for me was a confusing one because I still don't quite understand her story and why she ended up in the situation that she was in. But yeah, it's a story for another day. And yeah, man, I think that's basically it. To rate this film out of 10, I'm gonna give it between a 5 and a 6, because while I think that there were some great elements to the story, the friendship, you know, the relationship between the ladies, and some elements of the storyline with their love lives, I do think that they missed the mark in sort of like communicating a lot of what was going on in the movie, why certain things were happening in the movie, why we are where we are. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. I would still recommend people to watch the movie because I think that it's a good conversation. Like, it's a good movie to have conversation around certain things that happen in the movie. I think we can relate to a lot of them, especially at the age that I'm at. When I watched it, I was in these ladies' age, but now I'm sort of like in their age group. So watching it at the stage of life that I'm at, and then now seeing where they are in their lives, I can sort of relate to a few of the things that are going on. So I think it would be a nice, it's a nice watch. It is a nice watch. It's a chick flick. I think it's a good movie to watch with the girls, and it's a good movie to just have conversation around. But in terms of like the film and it delivering the story in a to honor the story, the film honoring its story, I think it missed the mark on that. So that's where I'm gonna leave it for this movie. Happiness is a 4-letter word. There is 2 sequels to this. Second movie that came out was Happiness Ever After, and the 3rd movie came out last year, which is called Happiness Is. So interested and keen to watch those ones as well. Yo, I've been talking for 36 minutes. Okay, my space just ran out, so this is me saying goodbye. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on day 3 of 100. Bye.